This show is brought to you by Victor Naraki Realtor, experienced real estate agent serving Disney and the greater Orlando area of celebratingflorida.com. Have you ever dreamed of living where the magic happens? Seeing fireworks from your backyard, or being able to make a quick drive to dine in the glow of the castle, or just to stroll the World Showcase? Victor Naraki has made that dream come true for himself and others. One of the biggest decisions you'll make when considering a move is selecting a realtor who can successfully match you with the right home in the right location at the right price. If you're looking to buy or sell in the Orlando area, here's why Victor is the realtor you'll want in your corner. Victor knows the Disney area like the back of his house, where he views and live casts fireworks nightly. Victor's buyers and sellers recognize he has a passion for life as he approaches each day with enthusiasm and brings that joy to his job. By creating a free, no-obligation account on his website, celebratingflorida.com, you'll unlock the website's full potential and be able to enter specific criteria, save listings, and browse new properties sent to your email. Is it time to follow your dream? Victor is looking forward to helping you discover the real estate opportunities that are right for you in this beautiful and fun-filled part of Florida. Visit celebratingflorida.com today or view Victor's view at victorsvista.com and let Victor know the Solo Show sent you.
My goodness, you're all staring at us. We better start the show rolling.
Broadcasting from the hidden base on the Century Moon here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, in the center of North America, on this little planet we call Earth, this is the Solo Show. On this edition, Stan welcomes to the guest host chair actor, musician, and one of the stars of the Ewok Adventures, Caravan of Courage, and the Battle for Endor, Eric Walker. So now, please welcome your host, the man who auditioned for the part of the Gorax, Stan Solo.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Solo Show. I am here today with an I'm excited. You know me, I get excited easily. And first of all, I want to thank this guy. More than anything, having a name I can pronounce. Because anyone who listens to the show know that I have a hard time with names. I have Mr. Eric Walker. And if you aren't familiar with the name, and you're an old-time Star Wars fan, you're definitely familiar with the part he played as Mace. Now here comes the name part. Is it Towani?
Mace Towani.
Mace Towani. Yeah. Mr. Eric Walker, welcome to the Solo Show and sitting in the co-host chair. How are you today, my friend?
I am great. Yeah. My name is easy to pronounce. Not like some of those, like the new guy who's doing the IG-11 on the Mandalorian. What's his name? Wadi Weedy, whatever his name is.
Oh, yeah. I don't even want him on the show because I'll slaughter his name for sure.
Yeah.
I like it when I have Eric Smith like Bob Smith. Those are the people I want to have on the show. So if you want to be on the Solo Show, send me an email. Tell me your idea. All you need is a good Wi-Fi and a microphone, and you can be on the Solo Show. You're sitting in the co-host chair, one that Eric Walker is sitting in right now. So Eric, you're best known for being on the Ewok TV series that came out in 84, 85.
Yep, 84, 85. It was called the Ewok Adventure when it aired. And overseas, it was released as a theatrical movie. Only here in America and Canada, it was on television, but even in Mexico, it was in a movie theater. And overseas, overseas, it was called Caravan of Courage, which is its new name. Kind of, they're saying that more now than the Ewok Adventure, which was the name of the TV version of it. And then we did two movies. We also did Ewoks, The Battle for Endor, which was the year after, which is 85. So, 84 and 85. You're right.
Yeah, and your character didn't fare very well in the Battle for Endor.
Well, he definitely either got injured or killed. It's a matter of debate.
Okay. I always thought he got killed.
Well, the life monitor went out, but who knows, right? I mean, you didn't see him die.
Yeah.
You don't see him die. The only people you see die is, the mother's dead at the beginning and are all near death. And you see the father get shot, so he dies. You see them shooting him down after Sindel leaves, so he's dead. But you never really see Mace die. The hut just blows up.
Yeah, true enough. And my theory is this is part of the reason why Disney wanted to buy Lucasfilm so much, because this is a film where the mother died early in the movie, and every Disney movie the mother dies early, so that's why they had to get Lucasfilm. It was because of the Ewok Adventures.
Well, I mean, isn't there there's some sort of those guys that do those trailers, the honest trailers or whatever? Okay. They did one about the Ewok movies. You guys got to check it out. And they go, boy, they were sowing that seed with Disney from way back then, because it was showing the Firefly, the pixie type character.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looks like Tinkerbell.
Yeah, they called them Wisties.
Mm-hmm.
So
today you're all grown up. You're no longer little Mace. Not that he was that little in that movies or in those series. You're doing music now?
Oh yeah, my passion is my music. I've done 3 albums to date.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, on my first album, I actually did a tribute song to the Star Wars universe. It's called "Return to Endor," and it's kind of like Mace watching an old ancient Ewok ceremony with Logray. Think of that when you listen to the song "Return to Endor," and did that album. And then it did so well that I said, hey, maybe I should do this. I actually charted on the charts. It was in London. It was on the electronic charts. I charted in 38 in London, and even over here, I was in the top 200.
Nice.
So I said, let's do this. So I made a promise to my wife: if it makes money, I could do it. Otherwise, I can't keep doing it.
I'm glad I didn't make that promise to my wife about the solo show. So what type of music would you describe it as? Electronic mostly?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I don't want to put it in a classification, but it's kind of futuristic. I guess you could, if you want to say a genre, it's electronic music. Sometimes you could dance to it. Sometimes it basically. There was a couple writers who gave reviews about it, and they just talked about how it's very atmospheric.
Yes.
And it takes you away. So you feel like you're going on this journey, and you could forget about everything that's going on. And I had a gentleman not too long ago who's a big fan reached out to me, and he said that when his wife was dying of cancer, the only thing that got him through was listening to my music, because it took him away from the issues he was dealing with his wife having cancer. I said, wow. That just like hit me right in the heart. It's like, you're dealing with your wife almost dying of cancer, and you're listening to my music. That's quite a statement.
That's very cool.
Yeah, and I like stories like that, and even on the Ewok movies, I love hearing stories. That's why sometimes I go out. I don't do a lot of conventions. I'm starting to do them more, but I enjoy meeting the fans. For me, it's about meeting the fans, hearing their stories, and having a great conversation. And I'm a Star Wars fan too. I'm a big geek, so I have a pretty big collection.
I want to get into your geekdom as well. Where can they find your music?
Eric Walker, my name. But music. EricWalkerMusic.com.
Perfect. Yeah, and I'll put that on the solo show as well. We'll put a link to that.
Yeah, and it's you could, and it's on every platform, every streaming platform. Whether you have Spotify or you have iTunes or Apple Music, it's everywhere. Recently, I did a song where I'm actually rapping, and it's another Star Wars tribute song, and it has a singer singing. It's called "Dare to Dream in a Galaxy Far, Far Away." It's a dance track, so get ready to dance when you hear that one.
All righty. And you also have a podcast you're doing as well?
Yeah, I mean, again, coming back to the fact that I'm a big sci-fi fan. Also Star Wars, of course, since we're talking about that, and it's a solo show. But I'm a big sci-fi nut. Have been since I was a kid. Loved the genre. I don't think, and when I was looking online, I didn't see one. You see these places like you have the solo show, what we're on right now, and you have other ones do Disney podcasts, and they called it, Skywalking Through Neverland. I know those people. That show combines Star Wars and Disney, but you never have one that I don't see one out there that's just all of sci-fi. So I said, wow, there's not something out there that represents all of sci-fi. So why don't I call it All for Sci-Fi? So that's it.
Okay. That's cool.
So,
I was going to ask you where the name came from, so that's perfect.
That's how it came about. So I have allforsci-fi.com, and it's a website. It's a podcast like the solo show, but it's much more. It's just a community I'm trying to build.
Well, I got a community. What do you mean it's much more?
I didn't mean it by that. I didn't mean that.
I know.
Star Wars, we're all part of the same community. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. You're funny.
I gotcha. I'm just ribbing you.
I know.
Yeah. So I know that you're a big Star Wars geek or fan. Where else? I know you do Picard reviews on your show.
Yeah, because the Picard show is the latest thing, and the Clone Wars is coming out. Speaking of Star Wars, so I'm going to be doing reviews on that. So we not only do reviews of everything that's coming out. I try to do it from a different point of view, because I was in the industry. So when you go and you listen to my review, I'm going to start talking about, how good the acting is or how good the photography is or things that bug me, like this last Picard show. And it's blowing up on the internet about it, but people don't explain it correctly. The reason why I have a problem about the swearing and profanity on Picard is because it's dumbing down the show. And to me, Star Trek, and I'm not trying to put down Star Wars because I'm a big part of it. It's a space opera. It's different. Star Trek for me growing up was always the show that was, it was a show, for instance, that my cousin, who was a million times smarter than me, liked. So it was always a smart show. Everything about it was smart. The technology, in fact, a lot of the stuff that we have today came from Star Trek, and it became reality, like iPads and the communicators and stuff like that. So when you watch Picard and they're saying the F word on the show, I got a problem with that. It's not that they're not saying the S word or saying damn or some small little swear word. They're using the F word. That is that's one of those that's a word that you can't say on television according to the FTC. So it's gone they went so far the other direction. And everybody goes, you're making such a big deal out of it. Hey, they're using the F word and of course the GD word, and I'm a Christian and you don't do that. That's blasphemy. So
and you're not saying it so much as a prude, you're saying as that it's dumbing down the show.
It's dumbing down the show. And the show's well written. Even the show that they said all that in. Star Trek always had a way of coming up with unique phrases that we might want to repeat. They'll make up some sort of word that sounds like a bad word. And why not do that and be more creative? In the show, the writing's really good. So why?
Yeah. No, I agree with you completely.
Yeah.
You also do a live show on YouTube.
Yeah. We're
doing Saturday, or do you
every Saturday? Nope, it's every Saturday. The only time, and we're still going to do it on when we're not at Disneyland, but we do from Disneyland, our Disneyland Galaxy's Edge, our California Adventure, every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 12, we have a live trivia game contest. All you have to do is listen to the stream, listen for clues. We'll be talking about Disney trivia. We might say something like, where's the apartment located that Walt Disney, lived in? It's above the fire station right there in front.
I was in the apartment.
Right. Okay, great. So, we're just talking and we're bringing about trivia, like what was there before he built Disneyland? Some people say, was it a swamp or was it a military base? You're right. It was 4,000 orange groves, 4,000 orange trees, which is what most of Southern California was before it started getting carved up. But yeah, and as we're doing it, we're talking trivia, we're giving you the answers, and then at the end of the podcast, we will ask one question. If you get the question right, something we talked about, all you have to do is watch. You have a shot at winning a free Galaxy's Edge gift. It's something that's from Galaxy's Edge that we're going to give. The first week, we gave away Sabacc cards. The second week, we gave away Hans dice. The third week, we gave away chance cubes. Last week, we gave away a pin that from the Battle of Endor. I think this week we're going to have a Echo Base pin. But yeah, and every week we're going to give something away. And when we're not there at Disneyland or Galaxy's Edge, like let's say we go to conventions. You mentioned I go to conventions. We're going to still do the live trivia game, but we'll do it from that convention. And we'll do something we'll make it that area, whatever. I'm going to Pensacola, Florida to Pensacon. It's next week. So we'll do something that's related to that area. And we'll still give a gift from Galaxy's Edge away.
Yeah, actually, the day this show comes out, you'll be in Pensacon the very next day. So this comes out on Thursday, so you'll be Friday. So yeah,
Friday, and then the show, weekend. and then that Saturday is when we'll have the live stream trivia game. Is every Saturday, 10 a.m. to 12. That's Pacific time. So on the East Coast, it's going to be 1 o'clock to 3, and Central it's 12 to 2.
Yeah, so I'll be at work, so I'll have to tell my boss. I need a couple of times. I need an hour and a half off. I got to go home.
I need an extended lunch break.
So when you watch the show, here's a pro tip: take notes.
Yeah,
because when Eric's talking, he'll give clues. Take notes, and you could be not a shoo-in because you do like a random draw at the end to.
That's just it. You don't have to be the first person really quick that types in the answer. Mm-hmm. What we'll do is the first 5 correct answers that come on our screen. The first 5 answers, we'll write them down, and then we'll draw your name. So you still have a 1 in 5 chance if 5 of you got it correct. So we'll pull your name.
That is so cool. I just love that concept. So I kind of want to do that now.
Yeah,
on,
why
on
not?
our live show. Yeah, I love that. That is great. So you're not only a Star Wars and sci-fi fan, you're also a Disney fan. How did you get interested in Disney? Where did that come from?
Well, that's, I grew up in Southern California, so you go to Disneyland as a child, every year, a couple times a year. Now it's real expensive to go to Disneyland. Not back then, it wasn't. And I worked for Disney. I did a Disney back when they had the Magical World of Disney, the Disney Sunday night movies. I did a Disney movie called Little Spies with Mickey Rooney, and had a whole bunch of other kid actors in it as well, and it was quite an adventure. I worked for Disney. That was in 86. So it was a year after I did the Ewok movies.
Oh, okay.
So a little bit older. And that was a lot of fun. So I played this bad guy who was like, the Water Street Gang. My character's name was Scratch or something like that. And it had the girl from Full House, Candace Cameron Burr. Her last name's Burr now, but this is before she did Full House, and we kidnapped her in the piece. So my scene's actually with her in the piece.
Oh, that's cool. Do you think she'd recognize you if you saw her today? She
might not remember. She was very young when we did that. She might. I mean, she's had quite a career after that. She was very young at that time. She wasn't like as young as the twins, the Olsen twins were, of course, but she was probably maybe 5 or 6.
Yeah.
She was very young. If I'm guessing, no, I don't know her exact age.
And so speaking about your acting career, so Caravan and Courage was the first. Well, I guess you said it was originally called the Ewok Adventure.
The Ewok Adventure, yeah, on ABC it was called the Ewok Adventure, and then
because I only know it was the Caravan of Courage. I forgot that it had a different title.
It did, in George, the Caravan of Courage came from George. He wanted the name at that, so when he released it overseas, it got his name on it. So he wanted.
Cool. Okay. So ABC kind of didn't like that name, I guess, or something.
I have no idea. I don't know all the politics, but I know I was told that was George's name. He came up with the name Caravan.
Well, I'm glad they're calling it that now because that's what everybody calls it.
It's a much better name, yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And how did you get that part?
Well, I just auditioned for it. So it's just it was real quick. It was very fast.
Did you know it was Star Wars when you were auditioning? Because nowadays they don't let anybody know it's for a Star Wars movie when they are hiring actors.
I had a little bit of a hint because I was still a big Star Wars fan.
Okay.
I had done because when I was reading, I knew what Ewoks were because I had seen Return of the Jedi like 10 or 15 times the year before. So
you and me both.
I kind of knew it, but I didn't know for sure. I didn't know. Like when they talked about the producer who they wanted to, take video of me so he could watch me, they didn't say his name was George Lucas. They just said one of the producers can't be here. And the audition was held down here in L.A. and was around the beginning, second week of May or something like that. And then like a couple weeks later, we had another audition in a week or two. It's either a week or 2 weeks, real quick. We did a screen test. At the end of that screen test, they flew us to San Francisco to do the screen test. And it was Aubrey Miller and I who played Sindel. And they wanted to see what we looked like together. They also wanted to make sure that Aubrey wasn't afraid of an Ewok.
It turned out she wasn't, but you were.
Yeah, I was. Yeah. So she loved the Ewoks when they brought the Ewok out on the stick. It looked kind of funny.
Like a cardboard one, or was it like a stuffed one, or what?
No, it had the whole outfit and everything. They just had it on a pole, and I remember she
like
walked,
the costume kind of.
The costume, yeah, it didn't have someone in it.
Okay.
And what they did was they had us do like 3 or 4 scenes from the movie, and they videotaped it. They wanted to see how we worked together. Wanted to make sure we looked like brother and sister, and we did. Want to make sure she wasn't afraid. Want to see what it was like working with her because she was only 4 years old.
Yeah.
And she would have a very limited schedule anyway because she's 4 years old. She could only work 2 hours a day on the set.
Wow. Okay.
And even as actors, as we had to have, and once we were out of school, they were able to use us a little bit more. So in the beginning, we still had school for a few weeks. So we had to go to school for 4 hours a day. Half the day. Then once that ended and we were in our summer break, they were able to get us for a couple more hours, but we still had to have a couple hours R&R by law. So they can't work us like they could work adults. So it must have been a headache for them, I'm sure, dealing with all these children.
That's what they say.
Not to
work us with children or animals, and they had both of them in.
Yeah, they did. Not only that, they had teenagers. I was a teenager, so I'm sure it was very hard to deal with.
So this was so how long was the filming for?
It was I want to say it wasn't super long. I've worked on longer projects, but we started filming June 11th was our first day, 1984, and then we took a break during the 4th of July week. Okay. Took a week off, and also Lucas had its annual Lucasfilm picnic, and that was the first time I went to it. Was that July?
That would have been amazing.
It was great. It was on Skywalker Ranch.
Oh, wow.
And I even have pictures of me standing in front of I was just looking at the picture. I just saw the picture today, or was it yesterday? And I was looking at it. Me standing in front of the sign that says Lucasfilm Annual Picnic at Skywalker Ranch. So so we had that week hiatus. Then we came back for 2 more weeks. So it was like about 3 weeks, about 5 weeks total filming.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause we did 3 weeks, and then we took a week off, and then we did 2 more weeks. About 5 weeks. And then we had another 10-day shoot, which was a pickup and reshoots in August. That was another 10 days. And that George directed the reshoot. He didn't talk about it. He didn't let anybody know about it because he was telling everybody, this is the first time I directed since A New Hope when he was doing the prequels, but that's a lie. He was directing a lot of scenes in the Caravan of Courage. Directed this for 10 days on that. And we were talking before the show in the Star Wars Archives book. It actually states that he directed in that as well. It has a shot of him directing me.
I don't think George's memory is as good as it once was. I think that he's kind of forgotten some parts of his
At one
career.
point, do you care? At one point.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
And it's a matter of getting him on the right timing, and then he may say yes. Sometimes he might say no, and then you get time it right, he might say yes. I've heard that. That's happened before when people suggest things. So
So these were filmed in the summer, and they came out on November 25th, 1984 was when the first one came out.
It came out.
So that was a quick turnaround, and they had to add the effects and all that.
They did, and from what I understand, they were still not finished all the way up until October. In fact, I think they did Burl Ives, who did the narration. They recorded that at the end of September, and then in October, I think they were still editing it. They did the last shot like around October 17th, and it aired the next month. So it wasn't locked until about the middle of October.
Yeah, it's easy to remember when it came out because it was the day after my birthday.
Happy birthday!
When it came out. Yeah, they came out November 25th, and my birthday is November 24th. And I remember.
The first one came out on the 24th. The second one came out on the 25th. So the very first one, the Ewok Adventure, aired November 24th.
November 24th.
So
okay.
The second one, maybe you just got them mixed up, but the second Ewoks: A Battle for Endor was the 25th. So the original one aired on your birthday. Yay!
There we go. Even better. It might have been different in Canada. I'm in Canada, but I remember my mom making a massive bowl of popcorn for me. Because I was known as a Star Wars kid. I grew up in a very small village in northern Canada, and in fact the movie theater owner gave me the promo poster for Empire Strikes Back while I was waiting in line for one of the movies, and so.
Yeah, you know what? My memory's shot because I'm wrong. You're actually right. I'm looking at. Hold on a second. I have a poster.
Okay.
Yeah, the poster behind me actually says November 25th. So you were correct. Yeah.
And so Warwick Davis, who was in Return of the Jedi, played. Wicket, of course.
Right.
What was he? And you were the same age as Warwick.
Our birthday's 3 days apart. That's how close we are. Yeah.
That's incredible. So you guys hung around quite a bit on set, I'm guessing.
Oh, we were like 2 peas in a pod. We would hang out all the time, go out to dinner, pal around, go to movies on the weekend. We were off. We had a great time. A great time.
So when he comes out to the U.S., does he get in touch with you, or does he remember you at all?
He did for a while. I mean, they would get in touch with us. In fact, when he was when he had to meet Ron Howard to do Willow. Mm-hmm. Ron wanted to see him first. I mean, obviously he was going to get the part because George did it for him.
Yeah.
But, they made him come out here and audition, actually. They flew him out here and had a meeting with Ron. And, anytime he came out here for a while, we'd get together. And then we kind of, after Willow happened, we kind of lost touch for a while. And then we saw each other again. We've only been to one convention together, and that was we went to a convention in Holland in the Netherlands called StarCon, and he purposely went to that, flew out one of the days just so we could see each other, and of course I got to rib him a little bit, and I said, where's my tape, because he still had the tape that I lent him with all the making of footage on it. It's like, I still don't have that back, and you've had it for 15 years. Can I please have that back?
So did he give it to you?
Yeah, he sent it back,
Oh,
actually.
get out! He did really?
No, he did. He sent it back
Oh,
to
that
me.
is awesome.
And,
yeah, he seems like a super nice guy. Like I've seen him a few times at Celebration on stage.
He's a great guy. Yes.
Yeah. He does these little skits on Star Wars Celebration when he owns the stage, and he was
doing that when we were on a set, because we'd be goofing off, and we had our video cameras because we were doing the making of footage, the footage that I just mentioned that I finally got back from him.
Yeah,
and he would suddenly break into these commercials where he's like doing the Shasta soda commercial, and it's a root beer and it's made of a lot of roots, and he's grabbing straw on the ground and throwing it around, and you saw the comic timing, the ability, and all the funniness way back then. It's like, when I saw that show he did with Ricky Gervais, it was like I saw that back when we were doing the Ewok movies. He's a very, very funny guy. He is.
He's awesome.
Really quick-witted guy, very funny.
Yeah, and you mentioned the behind the scenes video you have. That's on your YouTube channel if anybody wants to check it out. There is
a very small, quick 10-minute, really edited down version of it, but we have over 2 hours of footage. But
is that ever going to come out, or?
I don't know if it is ever going to come out. If Disney, you want it, let me know. Lucasfilm, you want it? If they ever do a Blu-ray release or want some extra features, Warwick and Davis and I would love to let the fans have it, and you could put it as an extras thing.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. I really enjoyed watching your videos that you had on YouTube of it, the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So was the
and I wrote the music in that, by the way. That's all my original music.
That's right.
Even in that, yeah.
Yeah. The Battle for Endor, was that filmed the following year then?
It was the exact. It was like they started a month earlier, month or two earlier, so they could get more time to do more. So they were not rushing it.
Well,
they
plus
learned from the year before.
Aubrey's in that one a lot more. So
she is
with the breaks that would require for somebody. She would have been 5 now, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it would have been similar. So they needed more time for her.
Yeah, they would have taken more time for sure for that one.
Yep.
And these I haven't checked, but I think they're available on Amazon.
They were. They're not any longer.
Oh, so they're hard to come, because I got my DVD box set, but yeah.
They did release them for rental or download on Amazon, but I think around the beginning of this year they pulled them, and it's making everybody speculate that maybe they might be coming out with something.
I got a feeling that they're going to end up on Disney Plus.
Well, they should be there. If Kathleen Kennedy wants to say that Disney Plus is the home of all of Star Wars, I don't know why you're not releasing the Ewok movies. And don't go on and on about canon to me, because it was made by Lucasfilm and George Lucas. So how can it not be canon if it's produced by Lucasfilm and George Lucas wrote the story?
Whether it's canon or not canon is irrelevant. Like you have
it's still a Lucasfilm production.
Yeah, exactly. And it was 20th Century Fox release on the DVDs, so now Disney owns that. So it's not a matter of like Paramount owns it or something.
Well, when they first came out with it, it wasn't Fox on the DVD. On the it was
VHS.
Video that was MGM home video.
Yeah,
and the Laserdisc was MGM. I don't think Fox I don't think the person who owned the rights to that would have been Lucas. Regardless, he would at that stage in the timeline, nobody would have owned it but him.
Yeah,
he would have made sure that he owns all the rights to everything concerning that. So
yeah, exactly. So I got a feeling they're going to come on Disney Plus. I think it's just a matter.
That would be great. And I had a petition, which it's still up there, but I've printed it. I'm about ready to hand it to Kathleen Kennedy, and I have one for her and one for Disney, and it has over 3,000 signatures on it now. So
okay, and is that still up there? Can people still?
Yeah, it's on there. If you go to where they do the petitions, change.org. It's on there, and it's asking them. It's also, there's links also on my website as well.
I'll make sure I get that on the solo show. You can send it to me if I can't find it.
Sure.
I'll reach out to you, because I want to get that on the solo show and a couple other pages that I'm on Facebook, because people need to see these films. They're amazing. I absolutely love them.
They were made from love, because George was doing this for his daughter Amanda, who was crazy and loved the Ewok. So
I did not know that.
Yeah,
is there anything else that's kind of like a cool secret about the Ewok films?
Well, there's you got a couple hours. There's lots of things about it. I mean, when we were doing the second one, Michael Jackson showed up on a set, and Warwick was ribbing me about it because I missed him by like one day.
Oh man. That happened to me with Favreau. I missed Favreau by like 5 minutes.
Well, at that time, that was when Michael Jackson was at the height of his career. Yeah. And he was there to talk with George about doing Captain EO, which later we found out. Later, that's why he was there, and that was then 85, and I missed him by one day, so work was giving me a hard time, but I forgot to tell Warwick I had actually sat and watched the movie with Michael, so I got one up on him. So,
what was Michael like?
Very different. He doesn't have that high-pitched voice, very down-to-earth type of person. All that was an act in a game. Very childlike, like the practical Joker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like me.
Yeah. And no, Michael didn't do anything to me, so don't even ask.
I wouldn't even think of that.
I know that, but I for some of those who might be wanting to ask out there.
Yeah. I was looking at your IMDb page, and you were in a movie with Alan Thicke, another fellow Canadian, called. Yes. And you thought your parents were weird.
Yes.
What was that? Did you work with Alan Thicke directly, or what was that film?
He did the voiceover of he was the dad in the piece, and the dad in the piece was in The Robot. It was a movie about these two kids who invent this robot, and somehow they were doing this thing with a Ouija board. They accidentally call their dad's spirit down, and it goes inside the robot. So it's a very Disney type of movie. It has Alan Thicke. It has Marcia Strassman in it, who was in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the mother.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, and it's, and again, I played a heavy type of character. I was one of the bad guys who would bully the kids.
You always get cast as the bad guy. I mean, Mace wasn't a bad guy, but he was a bit of a jerk. Like, he was a brat, that's for sure. And when we were doing the movie, he was much more of a brat. They had to tone that down. I mean, there's lots of scenes they cut down where he was doing devious things to the Ewoks, they'd be walking in the woods, and he'd suddenly snap a tree and it would hit the Ewok brothers and knock them over, and he did all kinds of stuff like that, which didn't make the movie. They decided, let me tone it down. Eric's too much of a method actor as well, so he's coming off a little bit too aggressive.
Yeah. So.
And then the other one that I found was in 1987, Less Than Zero, that starred Robert Downey Jr.
Yes, I played Robert Downey Jr.'s brother. I was his younger brother. And again, that movie, we get in a fight and I'm beating him up. What is it with me in this like bully type of stuff? But at least I beat up Iron Man, right? So.
Yeah, exactly. So you won the fight?
Huh? I definitely got the best of him in that fight. I mean, it was a real quick scene. There were other scenes in the movie, but for whatever reason, they got cut out. I was there for a week, and I only end up in one scene where we get in a little bit of a fight, and he leaves.
So Eric Walker and Thanos, the two people that beat up Iron Man.
There you go. Yes.
There you go. That's awesome. That is great. So where can people find you? You mentioned that you're going to be going to, I can't pronounce it, Pepsi Cola Con?
It's in Pensacola, Florida. It's called Pensacon, and it's a big Ewok reunion. I mean, at one point, even Wilford Brimley was coming, but he just recently canceled, which really stunk because it would have been great. I haven't seen Wilford Brimley since we did the second Ewok movie. It would have been great to see him. But everybody's going to be there. Even the Dame Sean Phillips, who was in Dune, who was the witch in the second Ewok movie, which they stole the idea for the Night Sisters from. And they were going to put her, Dave Filoni was actually going to put Sherelle, the witch, as a Night Sister in Clone Wars, I think. And he was about to do it, pull the trigger, but then he left it out. But they even had drawings of her, and that's where they got the idea of the Night Sisters from, the Ewok movies, and they're getting a lot of stuff, even in The Mandalorian. A lot of stuff that's happening in that they're grabbing from the Ewok movies, like the Blurg was in the Ewok movie. So it's great. It's they're paying homage to a movie that deserves a little bit more respect. Lucasfilm. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to name any names. Lucasfilm deserves a little bit more respect. Lucasfilm. Respect the movie. Fans love it. It's a good movie. Yes, it was a movie that was made out of love for his children, but people love these movies. It was something that they cherished when they were kids. They watched it year after year after year. So,
like when the DVD came out, I bought it the day it was available. I went out and got it immediately because I hadn't seen him in so long, and I wanted to see him so badly. I haven't watched him in a while. I watched him recently just because I'm going to have Eric on. They held up fairly well. They made the.
Well, they were shot on film. Yeah.
They won an Emmy for special effects.
The first one won an Emmy for special effects. The first one was also up for an Emmy for Best Children's Program. It lost that one.
Mm-hmm.
But the first one was up for 2 Emmys, won. The second one, I think, was also up for an Emmy for effects as well. I don't know if it won or not. But it was, they were good movies. Both of them are great movies. They hold up, like you mentioned. They were shot on film. Mm-hmm. So they were theatrical releases, and people were cheated out of it. Unless you lived in Mexico or the rest of the world, then you saw it in the movie theater. And they were really good in the movie theater. I thought they played much better because they had a lot of matte paintings, a lot of special effects. Mm-hmm. I think it had over 28 matte paintings in the movie. They spent a lot of money on it, and it was definitely, it's a great movie for children.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. It's a starter movie for children for sure, and families.
Yeah. The thing that did make sense to me though was, like, Wicket learns a fair amount of English in the second one. He's basically speaking English at that point. And by the time Return of the Jedi comes by, he forgot pretty much all the English that he learned.
Well, I mean, they changed the timeline. When we were doing those movies, the producer told us that this takes place about 150 years after Return of the Jedi.
Oh, okay.
And that's why the Ewoks sort of remembered English, or they called it basic.
Yeah.
It's called basic. Yeah. The reason why that they kind of understand this is because they had went through the events already in Return of the Jedi, and this was supposed to be like 150 years later. And the producer actually told us that. He was actually stating it actually in the time in articles. If any of you have the old Bantha tracks, which was the official Lucasfilm fan club, you could, if you pick up Tom Smith's interview in there, he's talking about how when they're doing in the first movie, the Ewok movie, the Caravan of Courage, when they're doing Star Cruiser Crash and they're playing with the toys, he talks about how there is one of the toys looks like an AT-AT. So it's right there. He even talks about it. It resembles one of those walkers. So I don't know what happened. I do know that, a lot of Star Wars was made up as it went along. So things changed, and someone wrote a book years later, and they put Sindel Towani in it, and it was they moved the timeline to between A New Hope and Empire. Yeah, but it was originally not supposed to be that. So
yeah. I mean, where it fits in the timeline, it doesn't really matter too much. But it did seem kind of. I mean, Wicket's in both, so 150 years after, unless Ewoks do live that long. I mean, they might be like Wookiees.
They do, and he even cracked a joke about how he was almost 200 years old and he was a teenager, like Ward did not, and they live long. He made a comment about it. So.
Okay, that's interesting. Did you ever hear the theory? A friend of mine, he's convinced that Sindel grows up to be Captain Phasma.
I've heard that theory.
What do you think of that theory? A joke?
I think it's plausible. Losing her whole family, could that have, and she could have been brought on, became an orphan, and maybe Noah gave her to, and she became, I definitely could see it. Also, I've heard that there was some rumor about Mace as well being something. I don't remember what it was. I have to look it up. But there was a rumor, too, about how Mace was somebody's father or something like that. But,
okay. As a kid, I always thought Mace was part of the Rebel Alliance because of the orange jumpsuit that he wore with the white vest.
Oh, definitely. Definitely, the Towani family would have definitely been whatever it was at that time.
Yeah.
And if it goes by the book, they're from Coruscant. So, if you're going by what the other guy wrote, so that's where Sindel is, and she's a reporter, covering the Senate.
You had mentioned on your live stream, at Galaxy's Edge, the footprints that you see. I'm not sure where they are exactly. I'm assuming they're when you are leaving Galaxy's Edge. And I know
it was on the Resistance side when I was doing it. As you're walking in the Resistance side, you could see them, and it kind of looked like, because I got the new blurg, the Mandalorian on the blurg, and it looked like the handprint looks the same on this. Of course, your people can't see that, but there's a footprint at the bottom of the blurg.
Footprints, yeah.
It looks very similar.
In Florida, you see those footprints as you're leaving Galaxy's Edge and going into Toy Story Land.
Okay.
I saw those footprints and I'm thinking to myself, wow, those things look awfully familiar, and I couldn't quite place them. And then you mentioned it on your live stream. That's what they are. They're blurred prints. I'm convinced of it.
I'm convinced of it too. And not only that, someone who works in the Florida one has told me that Mace's life monitor is actually in Florida. And I forgot where it was at. It's either in the Launch Bay area or somewhere over there in Galaxy's Edge. He actually took a picture and showed it to me. The life monitor is there. The one in Florida, not here though. I have to find it, but maybe I could post it on my social media, or you could post it. We'll look for it.
Yeah,
but so that's the only part.
So anybody going to Disney World in the next little while, see if you can find that. I'll post a picture of the life monitor, Eric. If you could send it to me,
he sent it to me on my Facebook, and I'll send it to you. But he actually made sure it was put in there. Other than that, the only thing that I know of that's from the Ewok movies, and I believe it's on both of them, on Florida and in Doc Ondor's, there is something from the Ewok movies in both of them, and that's Logray's headdress.
Oh, okay.
Is actually in there. So that is from the Ewok movies.
I'll have to check my pictures, because chances are I got a picture of it.
It's in Doc Ondor's. Here on the Den of Antiquities, it would be, it's up above though, and it's you go get a picture of Logray, and you'll see that big skull thing he had on his head. Yeah. Remember he had the big head dressing? That's his head dressing, is there. So
yeah, there's so many cool things in Doc Ondor's to check out. The
Mandalorian's helmet's in there. So is the phase pulsar rifle.
Yeah, I saw his helmet in there.
Yep.
Is there anything else you wanted to touch on? I know you're going to be in Celebration, so if people are going to Celebration, I know I have a few people that listen to the show that will be going. Are you going to be doing a meet and greet, or are you going to? What's happening?
I don't right at the moment. I'm going as a geek and a fan, but I might be appearing at someone who has a booth there. I'll make sure everybody knows that, and it'll be up on all my social media, so you know where to come and find me. So I'll probably have some place where I will sit and be able to meet with fans and sign autographs. I don't know if I'm going to be part of the actual Tops section where they have the celebrity autographs, because every time I try to get them to, and people keep requesting me to go there, they just don't pay any attention to that. I'm wondering what did the Ewok movies do? It's like we're the redheaded stepchildren of the Star Wars universe, right?
Yeah, it's as a fan, it's very frustrating.
It's very frustrating, and not only that, but come on, Topps, you're running it now, and you know how many Topps cards? Mace Towani even has his own top card, and part of that game, the Galactic Files. I have my own card, so it doesn't, hello.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because they want to focus on and I've heard some people have told me it's because they don't want to focus on anything in the past, and that's their excuse to me, but then they have other people there that are there from Jedi and Empire Strikes Back and this, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that you get slapped around as much as the holiday special does.
No, we don't.
You don't have that, at least.
Thank goodness for that, right?
Speaking to a guy that did a live, a bunch of us got together and we watched a holiday special and did an audio voiceover. And I mean, it is what it is. It's not the best show in the world, but it's still Star Wars. I say Star Wars is like pizza. Even when it's bad, it's good.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen it. I didn't think it was that bad either at the time. I know that Lucas loathes it and really hates it. Yeah. Lucasfilm hates it, but they didn't produce it. But I've never heard them say either way whether they hate the Ewok movies. No. I've never heard them say that. So I don't know what the deal is with that. It's kind of strange.
They just seem to have swept it under the carpet and just kind of ignored it pretty much.
That's kind of what it is. And then people complain about it enough, and then they bring it out again. It's like the last time it came on DVD, you mentioned you have the DVDs, people were starting these huge write-in campaigns. And that's when it came out again. Because they were, and maybe this petition that we're doing, I mean, it hasn't been out that long, and it already has over, 3,000 signatures. So when people do it, they'll pay attention, Yeah.
So everyone get out there, sign that petition. We want to see the Ewok films on Disney Plus.
Disney Plus, yeah.
Yeah. If not Disney Plus, then Disney Plus Plus. It's an inside joke for my listeners.
Or something, Blu-ray, anything, so people get to have a shot. I think they were filmed on film, so if they transfer it, it should be the same. They should be able to do a 4K version or ultra high HD because it was done on film. So it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get a really good cleaned up version, but heck, I'd be happy with anything.
Well, the last version looked pretty good. It was holding up pretty good. They did a very good transfer of it. But they had no special, nothing. They didn't have us come in and record commentary.
No, there's nothing.
And work, and I both stated to them we'd gladly, even now, if they want to do it, we'll gladly come in and do commentary and talk about making it. We both are the doors open for them to take our footage. 2 hours of the behind the scenes making of footage, they could have that too. So.
Well, you're welcome anytime to come on the solo show, and we'll watch the movie together and do our own commentary.
There you go. That might be an idea.
Yeah, we've done it with the holiday special, so we can do that with the Ewok.
Speaking of that, I don't know if you could hear it or not, but hold on a second. I started working on this the other day, and I might as well let your listeners hear a little bit of it real quick if you got a second.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
See if you recognize it.
That's the is that the Caravan of Courage theme at the end?
No, a little bit. It's did you recognize it? What is it from?
You know what? I'm sure people are yelling at their speakers saying, "Stan, you know what it is," but I don't know what it is.
It is the theme to The Mandalorian.
Oh, right. Oh, man.
It's my version of it. So I'm working on it, and I'm not quite done. But you got to see me play a little bit of the part of it, but everybody else didn't see it. But that's okay. But I'm working on it. I'm doing my own version of the Mandalorian theme. So
that's going to be coming out soon. That's exciting. Voiceover guy Kevin, he'll know it when he hears this. He wants to do a whole thing about the Mandalorian. Yeah,
great.
He'll know what that is.
Oh, he'll get it right away.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a hard time with music. I went to I think it was David Collins did a thing at Celebration talking about the Star Wars soundtracks for episode 1.
Right.
And I was kind of lost for a bit of it. And then he talked about right at the end, I guess, when Palpatine gives Jar Jar that ball and he holds it up, there's a little bit of the Emperor's theme music tossed in there when everyone's celebrating, and it's right. Everyone's celebrating, and then you hear this a couple of notes of Palpatine's theme, and it's like everyone's celebrating, everyone's happy, the war is over, everything's good. Awesome. Wait, what was that sound? How come that was?
Yeah, why? It's a prelude to something
but
to
that
come.
That sounded evil.
Yeah, well, they do that. They do that. They add little things in there for sure.
Yeah, and I heard it then when he explained it first, and then he played it. He played it. I didn't hear it. Then he played it again. Then I got it. And now every time I hear the movie or watch episode 1, I hear that little bit of evil, the Palpatine music added into it, the celebration. Yeah, it was great.
That's great.
Hey, you know what? It was great having you on. Is there any final thoughts or comments you wanted to make?
Nothing. Come out, guys. I'm gonna the next couple of years. I'm gonna get out there a little bit more than I have in the past. I do have. I'm working on a 4th album right now, which is very different than. It's going to be different than all the other albums I did. Because this time I'm actually writing a sci-fi novel. And what they could do is each chapter is going to have its own song. So as you begin to read chapter 1, whatever the name of the chapter is, you play song 1 on my album. So you could it'll throw you right into the universe of the novel by listening to the music and have an atmospheric feel and vibe. So I don't know anybody that's doing it. They're not releasing an album with music. That's inspired by it, but that's the big project I've been working on now, and it's taken me some time because I have to write the sci-fi novel with the music, and I'm not some great writer. I have good ideas. I think we'll see, right? Or I'll fall on my face, but at least I'll try. But I'm looking forward to having that. If it's not out at the end of this year, it'll be out at the beginning of next year. But I'm really shooting for just right around Christmas this year having that released. So that'd be a lot.
Exciting. That's really exciting. That's something for people to watch for sure. I forgot to ask. It was one of my number one question I wanted to ask was George Lucas. He came and you said he directed the pickups, but did he come on set at all? Because he said at the beginning
he was on set. He was there probably about once a week. He would come in and check on things. I remember specifically he came out it might have been the first day or was in the first couple of days. He showed up with his daughter because, again, he was making these movies for Amanda out of love. And it was her first day of preschool. She was like 3 or 4 years old. Mm-hmm. And as a present, because she finished her first day of preschool, he brought her out and he didn't want her to see the Ewoks with their heads off, so he asked all the actors if they'd please put their full costume on, because she thinks the Ewoks are real. So,
okay.
So they did. They put all their costumes on when Amanda was there, and I have video of that, by the way, in the behind the scenes stuff. I have video of George Lucas with Amanda and his girlfriend at the time, who was Linda Ronstadt.
Yeah, that has to come up.
So they didn't take any. He dated Linda Ronstadt for a while, and you don't see pictures of him and Linda Ronstadt together, but I have video of them together on the movie set. So that's another treasure.
It's a shame. It's actual horrible this isn't available to the public. It has to get out there.
Yeah, well, we'll see if we could get it out somehow. If they don't want to do it, maybe we could figure out a way, but we got to make sure we watch our P's and Q's and make sure we don't get into trouble. I don't foresee me ever working for Lucasfilm ever again the rest of my life, because it's been 30-something years. But I wouldn't mind working for Lucasfilm again. So I would want to make sure, if they ever wanted me to come back, like since Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are such big fans of the Ewok movies, if they want me to come on and do a quick thing on The Mandalorian or anything they're working on, I want to make sure Lucasfilm is happy with me. So.
Very good point. That makes complete sense for sure.
And they're great people, so it'd be great to do something, even if it's something stupid and silly to make the fans go wild. It's like, whoa, he was Mace, or even if it's something silly.
Mace flying a ship or something.
Anything. It's like, he was alive. A lot of people don't know this, and I can't say that Mace would have been back, but when we did those movies, we were signed to do 3 movies. Ooh. And they did not do the 3rd movie. Yeah. Can't say I would have been back anyway, because the general thought was the family's dead. So they left it at that. But who knows? Who knows? And they actually they got to one point where there is a script for the 3rd Ewok movie. It was actually written, but they didn't finish it, and they scrubbed it and they didn't do it. So I wonder what it was about. I don't think Mace would have been back, but it'd be neat to find out. I know there's a couple writers that are trying to uncover that stuff, because they were asking me questions about it. And did you see the script? And I go, no. I understand that they actually wrote one draft of the script. And I go, oh, really? I didn't even know that. How'd you find out? So it was a really sad time, because Star Wars was just kind of fizzling out. Yes.
Around that time, and it went into I call it the Dark Age.
Right.
There was no Star Wars for the longest time.
And at that time, he was doing another Indiana Jones. Mm-hmm. And he was doing Willow, and they did Howard the Duck, and Willow came about because of what happened with Howard the Duck, not because it bombed, but because George was upset that Warwick couldn't play Howard the Duck, so he created Willow for him, and he wanted him to get out of the costume too. He wanted to, since Warwick was kind enough to always have a mask on, he wanted everybody to see what he looked like, so he created that specially for Warwick, and also to make up with the Howard the Duck fiasco, and the head not fitting, and it was millions of dollars, so he couldn't do the role. So
well, hey, they gave Howard the Duck a cameo in one of the Marvel movies. You never know; Mace might come back for a cameo.
You never know. And from what I understand, that Howard the Duck movie was a lot better. Lucas had he had trusted the people that were making it, producing it, and he went off and was doing stuff for Indiana Jones. Mm-hmm. And he came back, and it was a disaster. He was trying to put it back together. So
well, that's what happened with the Star Wars special. Same thing. He was too busy working on Empire.
Right.
At the Star Wars holiday special, he just said, you guys deal with it.
Right.
Before we knew it, it was on the air, and he was like, wait a minute, this isn't what I was anticipating.
But the people that did, but he really trusted those people. They had worked with him on, I forgot who they were, but they had worked with him, I think, on some of this, either the Star Wars or Indiana Jones or something like that.
Well, for the holiday special, they blew more than half the budget just on Jefferson Starship to do that one song.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think it was $1 million budget or something like that. That was
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, the Ewok movie went way over budget, and that might have been part of the reason why it was released theatrically. But it went like $1 million or $1.5 million over budget. I think it was like around $3.5 million, which at that time was a lot of money for a TV thing. Nowadays, that's nothing. But Star Wars was made for $11 million or $12 million or something like that. So
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Well, thank you for coming on the show.
Yes.
Definitely going to try to hook up with you or meet up with you in Celebration in this August.
For sure.
And if anybody else wants to meet you, try to hit those local conventions because people want Mace Windu autographs. I know I do. So
I don't sign as Mace Windu. I sign as Mace Towani, but sometimes I sign Mace. Sometimes I sign Mace. Sometimes I do sign on Sam Jackson's thing and say First Mace just as a joke.
Yeah, the original Mace.
But I'm the OM. I'm the original Mace.
Sorry, that was a slip right there.
That's okay. It's not the first time.
Yeah, but people want Mace's autograph, so you got to hit the conventions. You got to come out to Winnipeg. And
I would love to. Yeah.
Sounds good. Ours got kicked. Whatever it's been going for like 25 years. They didn't have one last year, and apparently there's new owners, and they're starting it up again this year. So,
well, if you guys listen to the solo podcast, Mace will come if you invite him.
Perfect, excellent. That sounds great. Like I said, thank you for coming on in the co-host chair, and I'll see you in August.
Can't wait to see you. Okay, we'll meet up.
Perfect.
Sounds good. All right.
And with that, Ken, take it away.
If you have a brilliant idea for a future edition of The Solo Show and would like to join the adventure in the guest host's chair, then drop us an email at thesoloshow01@gmail.com. If you would just like to keep the conversation going, then visit us on our Facebook page at The Solo Show. And come back for the next edition of The Solo Show. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.